I tore apart an actual smart lock to see how the whole mechanism works. But before we get into that, we need to understand how solenoids, motors, clutch mechanisms, the driving pins, and all of that works. And I've also got a parcel to help me with that, but I'm going to open this a lot later on. So a solenoid is a coil of wire that creates a magnetic field when current flows inwards. In a smart lock, that can disengage a blocking pin, it can trigger an internal lock, or it can enable a clutch. So it can have an on-off state, which is basically the open or closed state, but it's not good for continuous rotation, and it's actually quite high power. However, it's cheap, it gives you instant motion, and it's relatively simple to install into the mechanism. So an alternative to a solenoid is a motor. Those spin really fast, but they have very little torque. But the blocking pin actually needs quite a bit of torque to activate. And DC motors are generally quite expensive, so trying to get those as opposed to a solenoid is going to make the whole lock more expensive. And there's a problem with misalignment, because just trying to get the motor to open and close constantly with little torque is a little bit difficult. So sometimes they integrate like a tiny little gearbox in the locks. So to ensure that the gears aren't stripped inside of the lock, there's a clutch mechanism, and that basically works similar to a car, because obviously the smart lock can't physically open the door, it just unlocks it. So when you actually have to turn the door handle, the clutch mechanism makes sure that you don't strip the gears. There are quite a few different clutches, like an electromagnetic clutch, there's a solenoid based clutch, and there's a mechanical clutch that you can all install, and those have different price ranges depending on the lock, which means better systems or worse systems depending on the ones that you pick. So adding a clutch allows for a manual override, so you can physically just turn it without actually stripping the lock. It improves fail-safe behavior, and it stops you from actually stripping the gears when you're opening the lock. So another factor inside of a smart lock is torque resistance. You have to be able to stop someone from trying to open the door, pulling the door, banging on the door, and all of that. So adding that torque resistance stops the actual lock from breaking. A lot of cheaper locks use plastic, so they don't last as well as the more expensive ones. That's why they fail. But higher end ones can end up using planetary gears, they can use metal torque systems, and they can use all of that to strengthen the actual ability of those locks. So in cheap locks, the mechanism is basically just a motor and then reduction gears and then a bolt shaft. It's very simple, but it doesn't work the best, which is why it's used in cheaper mechanisms. But for a mid-range lock, the motor drives a worm gear, and then that has massive torque advantages. And that's used in like mid-range ones because it allows the lock to actually stay locked for most of the time. And then for a more expensive top end lock, then a motor spins a planetary gear, and then that moves the cam plate and the bolt moves, locking the door. That provides a lot of strength, and this basically stops any external forces from opening the door without actually breaking it first. A lot of smart locks actually have anti-tampering devices as well. They're able to detect when the smart lock is trying to be tampered with, and obviously they can't really do much because it's just a lock. They have a lot of technology that stops them from actually getting into it. They have a lot of smart bolts which are hidden, and they have like really weird shapes on them that allows normal tools to stop getting into them. They also have accelerometers to detect that someone's trying to open them, and then they also have like stainless steel or steel inserts or hardened steel that actually stops most drill bits, unless they had like a tungsten carbide drill bit, from actually drilling through them. And most people aren't going to have those tools when they're trying to break into a lock. So that's the basic functionality of how smart locks actually work, but how is it used in practice? And for that, I've got this parcel. That's what WELOCK sent me over, so that I can take apart the full lock and I'm able to see the internal mechanism of them. Alright, so let me just go ahead and open this parcel. And here is a smart lock that they actually sent over for me. So this is what they got. It's a keyless lock that's supposed to use on the inside of your house. So like inside of an office area or whatever. So I'm going to open this package, take apart the full lock, and I'm going to study the whole mechanism behind it. Alright, so I've just got a razor blade. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And they've got a QR code for me to download this app, so I'm going to do it from there. Okay, so I got the app downloaded, however, I can't actually connect it to this yet because I haven't even opened the parcel or turned it on. So that's what I'm going to do first. That peels really bad. So the first thing you see when you open is... Wait, actually you can't even see that message. Something about reselling. And it's got a full catalog in Dutch. Then it has one in French. Then it has one in Italian, Spanish, and finally English. They have all of these different manuals and instructions for this. And then lastly, we have the actual lock on the inside. So let me just go ahead and get that out. Wow. That's got some weight to it. It's actually full stainless steel. It's also got this. On the inside. That is for me to be able to take this whole kit apart. So this is the full smart lock over here. It's got the keypad there. It's got the lock. And then I have this kit to be able to disassemble the whole thing. So I'm going to take this apart and see how the whole internal mechanism works. But I'm a bit confused as to how you actually connect this to the door. I probably have to read one of these manuals, which I haven't done yet. So I think I will test out the door lock first, make sure that it works as intended, and then I'll take it apart and see how the mechanism works. Alright, so I finished setting up the app and I have it on my phone over here. The UI is quite basic and you can unlock it remotely. And then you can set up multiple passwords. So once it's unlocked, it gives you the opportunity to turn the handle. And then you can use different passwords to unlock it. And then that allows you to unlock it. Or you can use a second password that I set up. And then that also allows you to unlock it. But then there's an option to use these key cards. So you got three different tags that you can use on them, and once you turn it on and then it actually unlocks it, so you can now turn the handle. And they got three of those. So oh yeah, and it is made out of a zinc alloy with some stainless steel, and it has a battery life of around 10 to 12 months, so you won't even need to replace it. And it has a charging port on the bottom of it, so that once it does die, you can just plug it in from the bottom and charge it up for a little bit. But the batteries were included separately. But the build quality of this is like really good. So let me go ahead and take it apart. First of all, what I will do though is take out the batteries that I put in there. So I'll just loosen this all up. So I just need to remember this. So I need to find out how to take this apart. Let's see. There are some screws at the top over here. So let me try and get those out. Okay, so I removed the major screws on top over there. And now I need to find out anywhere else where they've got loose screws. So I see one over here. I think I can access that with the Allen key. And now that's been removed, which allows me to take this head off of the screw. Okay, so it seems like it comes with a replacement one of these. I don't know what that component is just yet. I'll figure that all out when I've taken it apart. Okay, so I've got every visible part of the lock taken out. Every screw, every bolt, the head of this. So, okay, so you just pull it out from there. I did feel a bit of give from here. So, let me try pry something inside. So, I've now got access to the inside. It feels like there's something slightly missing there because I don't want to break this. I still want to be able to put it apart. To put it back together. There we go. I've got something inside to try and pry it open. I know this is like similar to where the battery will go because it's right on the opposite side. There's only so much that can go there. But it doesn't want to open up. You can see inside of there slightly. That's where the springs are, where the connections to the battery goes. But I'm trying to find a motor that will spin this, or something that stops it from just remaining on an on state. I know it's got a screen as well, but I want to have to see that on the inside of it. Okay, so literally the only things I can see are the terminals of the battery at the bottom over here where they make the connection, and the midpoint of where that goes in. And I assume that is where it has the locking mechanism, because once the thing is locked, it stops the movement of this. And you can see a connection point inside of that. So I'm assuming that's where the middle part is. That would probably be like a stepper motor or a DC motor or something like that. But I can't get too far inside, because the thing is about this, you can see it opens up over here. That's where the four screws were over here. But there's no point at the top over here. It doesn't open up like a normal hinge would or a normal pop-off would. So I can't really open that without breaking anything. And that's what I don't want to do. So I need to find a different point of entry close to the bottom, which might work, but I can't see any screws that I haven't taken out already. There was this part over here, but I already screwed that, because that was where you can physically lock this. That point goes over there. You have a screw so that people can't take out the batteries or something mid use. And now on the inside, the only things you can see on the inside of that are the connections to the batteries. So I'm trying to get into this without taking it apart. Alright, so I figured it out. The main point of access is going to be along this seam over here that runs along the side. But I'll need a heat gun to actually access that, and like a pry tool. But I don't want to do that because obviously I still want access to this, and it's going to damage the internal components because there's a screen behind there, there's going to be a DC motor, there's going to be the adhesives. So if I want to get access to this, I'm going to have to heat it up and pry it apart. It might do damage to the internals, the wires and all of that. So I'm not going to do that. I'll just put it back together and hope that it's still working. But I do understand the fundamentals of how this lock actually works. So I'm going to put it back together now. This is quite the testament to its build quality though, because even with all of these tools to disassemble it, it was still quite difficult to get to the inside of it, which I guess is a good thing for a lock, because you're not supposed to be able to really take it apart, because otherwise, what's that doing? You can't really just get a screw and take it apart and make it not work anymore. So it is quite good that it is difficult to be able to take apart and put back together. So that's not a problem in of itself. And surprisingly, even though that was all difficult, this part below the stainless steel is all plastic, and that's all it needs to be because it's encased by that stainless steel. So that isn't a problem there. And the UI is basically like really simple. It's all you need. It's just a place where you can access the lock, unlock it remotely, or you can create different passwords, create different users so that each user has a different password so that they can access this. And it works quite well. Haven't had any issues with it so far. And I'm not going to install it on my house here because there's no place inside that I'm going to need a smart lock on the inside. But understanding the fundamental of this was quite interesting. So, to be fair, I think I would get quite a few more of these. Oh, and it still works. Perfect. So, I think I would probably get quite a few more of these so that I could just set them up around, probably in like Zimbabwe or something. But these are actually really nice, and they are quite relatively cheap comparatively. So, what I will do is put this all back together. So I will put this back together, and then this should be fine to still use because I didn't do any lasting damage to it. So let me just put this back together. And it is perfectly functional. Alright, so if you do want to go ahead and pick one of these up yourself, I'll leave the link to this in the description. But it is quite good. The build quality is strong. It allows you to set up a lot of different passwords at once, and it's quite secure. So if you like videos like this where I do teardowns or understanding basic mechanics of stuff, then check out that playlist over there.